So it's just content, so let's get started. Thank you for coming today to our webinar, Your Personal Budget. I hope you get lots of value from it and some help in getting your personal budget sorted. Before we get going, I just want to throw in our usual disclaimer that the information in this webinar is educational, and therefore it's going to be general in nature and obviously no substitute for tailored advice. Sorry, I was just rearranging all my stuff and the dog so I can get to the right things. Yes, it's no substitute for tailored advice specific to your particular circumstances. So here's our thought for the day. It's critical that kids start to learn the value of money, short-term and long-term savings, and budgeting at an early age. Now, some of us weren't taught these things as kids. I know I wasn't, but it's not too late to learn, and that's obviously why we're here today. The pandemic has certainly highlighted some gaps in the business community's financial awareness skills, and the best place to start in terms of growing these skills is with ourselves and therefore our children, and I think we can all agree with that. Sometimes as accountants, we tend to focus more on business budgets and forecasts, and we don't really do much on the personal aspects of financial management. But firstly, we get a lot of questions about clients on this personal spending. Did they really spend that much money? Did they really take that much out? Where's all their money gone? Things like that. But also it's a really great starting place to put in a business budget and forecast in place, because then you know exactly how much you need to take out of your business every month. So therefore you can start to build your business budget around that. So therefore, we firmly believe that good financial awareness skills start with having a personal budget. So today we're going to cover understanding what we mean by personal budget, the obvious and the quite unexpected benefits of having a personal budget, the key elements of your personal budget, how to complete your personal budget using our free template, which we will send out at the end of the session or at some point later today along with a recording, so that you can actually do this for yourselves. It's not just something that we're going to talk about and then leave you to it. We're actually going to give you the tools to do it. How to create an accountability structure so that you can stick to your budget as much as possible. And then some next steps as a result of this webinar, the support we can offer you if you don't want to go it alone. And of course, we've got questions and answers. So we'll be able to answer any questions you've got at the end of the webinar. So if you just want to pop any questions you've got either in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we'll be able to pick those up at the end. Although I can't actually see where the chat box is on my screen, but I'm sure it will come up as and when. So let's start with what is a personal budget. Now, this is the definition of a personal budget, and it's a really useful definition because it makes three important distinctions. Personally, its personal budget, its purpose and form is quite different to the budget that we'd create for your business. Secondly, your personal budget is not just something you create and then tuck in a bottom drawer. It's an actionable plan that, if followed, will help you achieve your financial and your lifestyle goals. It's not just about saving and penny pinching, I promise you. And lastly, your personal budget is a forward-facing plan for 12 months, broken down into 12 months, and it allocates your future personal income, including salaries, dividends from the business, towards your personal expenses, your savings, investments, and the reduction of any personal debt. But put really simply, a personal budget is a plan that lays out how you will spend and save your money. So we'll start with benefits, and we really do want you feeling like this about personal budget by the end of the webinar. So there's many benefits of having a personal budget. Some are quite obvious and are financially focused. Others are focused on reducing stress and improving communication with your significant others, if you have one. The value in having more control over your financial future cannot be underestimated. Focusing on your budget brings your focus to something you can have real control over. So as I said at the beginning, personal budgeting helps you focus your money goals and creates a better awareness of where your money is going. A common comment we get from our clients when they look at their annual accounts and see their dividend figure for the year is, we couldn't possibly have spent that much money last year, or I haven't taken that much money out of the business, I haven't got none of that in my bank account, and so on. So if you've ever thought this, don't worry, you're in very good company. And it's a sure sign that by spending just 60 minutes each month, drilling down into your personal spending, you'll have a greater awareness of where your money is actually going. Having money goals and an awareness of how much money you're spending and on what creates better money habits, which in turn helps you to manage debt levels and enables you to achieve your wealth goals. So a personal budget can act as an early warning system because you can anticipate upcoming costs. There's always that, usually it's insurance done annually, but there's always a little thing that you forget about, which actually could be a big thing, because you don't pay it monthly, and it always crops up at the wrong time and a lot quicker than you remembered it being last year. So having something like this will actually make sure you don't forget about that important bill and you can plan for it accordingly. Having a budget is also really important in regards to communication with your spouse. According to marriage guidance experts, finance conflict is in one of the top three most common argument topics, along with parenting. At the end of the day, if you have a budget and you use it as one of your wealth creation tools, you will end up with more money and arguably less conflict and stress. And it does go down to the whole, I don't know if you saw my video last week, it's not about cutting out all the things that you want to do. It's that coffee habit that you may have. Some of us may not have had it over the last year because we're not going out as much, but if you're used to getting a coffee every day or every week or whatever it is, going for a takeaway, it's not about cutting those things out. It's just about planning for them so that when you do have them, you know you've planned for them and it's guilt-free spending. Same as if you plan for a shopping spree before your holiday, it's guilt-free spending that you've already planned for. So that's why we're saying budgeting doesn't have to be restricted. You're just making sure that you've got everything covered and a little contingency plan. So if having a personal budget is such a smart thing to do, why aren't we all doing it? So this is what we don't want you feeling. And here are the top 7 reasons why many of us don't have a personal budget plan. Firstly, it's extra work to set up and monitor. A lot of people feel that setting up your personal budget and reviewing your progress each month is time consuming, but it's not once you get into the swing of it. There's some simple things you can do to make it easy on yourself. Firstly, make sure all your personal spending comes from one bank account or one credit card, and you don't pay your personal expenses out of your business account. That way you'll have only one spending source that you'll need to track, and it will just make things a lot simpler for you. Secondly, get hold of a simple budget template to take the work out or set one up, which obviously we're going to provide you with one at the end of the session, or on the follow-up email with the recording. As a alternative, you could actually subscribe to a budgeting app. Now I've got one on my phone. I'm just trying to find it now. It's called, I don't know if you can see that, it's called Accounts. And I find it's really good for keeping track on it. You can set up your recurring things and you know exactly how much money you've got in your account to spend on spend on like personal day-to-day expenses, and you can set up all your different savings and you can automatically put money across. So I definitely would recommend that. But there are loads out there, so it's finding the one that suits you. That one suits me. I've been using it for years. You could even go one better and join a specialist budgeting coaching program, although I do appreciate that's not a step for everybody. Reason number 2, people hear the word budget and think bread and water. Many people don't like the limits they feel budget will place on them. I'm just going to shut the door, sorry. We're homeschooling today as our primary school is closed. Oh, and now the dog's scratching. Go on. So, yes, we're homeschooling. It's great fun. Anyway, right, so think of your budget as a spending plan rather than a budget. So it should be the exact opposite of confining. It's liberating because it results in guilt-free spending, as I just said a few minutes ago, because you know that you've got money allocated to all your expenses, so you know what money you have to spend on day-to-day things. And as I said, you know, because you're allocating that money for your weekly takeaway, your daily coffee, whatever it is that you want. You don't have to restrict your lifestyle. It's about making sure you plan accordingly for it. Reason number 3, people don't know how to prepare one. And if your problem is simply that you don't know where to start, then as I said before, a simple budget tool and some online training like this is the solution. Some people fear putting the subject of money on the table. And there's no doubt that money can be a real cause of conflict in a household. But this simple fact prevents many couples from even talking about budgeting and bills and costs and who's paying for what. But conflict around money doesn't resolve itself. And a personal budget is one simple step you can take together towards a healthier relationship with money. Some people avoid it because of fear of what they'll find. And yeah, budgeting can be scary at first. So I know we said about you want to be able to keep your daily coffee habit or takeaways, but sometimes finding out how much you actually spend on these things can be quite scary and put things in a different perspective. So yes, we don't want you to restrict your lifestyle. After all, life is for living, not for just saving money. But also sticking your head in the sand isn't the answer. So if you are looking to cut costs from your personal spending, then this will actually be able to unlock the information and be able to find out where you are spending all your money. And if there is anything there you are willing to then cut out. Knowledge is power, and it's healthier to deal with the truth and move on positively. But again, it's not always necessarily about saving money. It's just about understanding where your money's going. The 6th reason is pride. You don't need one. Pride is an issue for all of us, but don't let your financial future be harmed because of your preconceived notion about who needs a spending plan. Quite frankly, we all do. I know I've got one and we stick to it within reason. But we plan accordingly, so it's fine. And then lastly, laziness. I totally understand how easy it is to let budgeting slide, especially around probably Christmas when it feels like everything's going out of control and you don't want to know about it. But that's probably the most important time to keep on top of things so you do know what's going on. Watching a movie sounds much more fun than doing a budget. But if you set aside some time every month, maybe pop it in your diary, maybe an hour, last Friday of every month, say, and regularly review your budget and spending each month, you'll soon get into that habit and you'll soon just become part of your normal monthly routine. So understanding the benefits and building that habit are the keys to your personal budgeting plan. Right, so the first step in personal budgeting is to set up your 12-month personal budget with income and expenses broken down on a monthly basis. This could be done in an Excel spreadsheet, which is what we'll be using, or as I said before, by using one of the many budgeting apps around. Right, so firstly, you'd enter in all your income, your monthly income, and then you'd enter in all your expenses line by line. So it'd be really handy to have your most recent bank statements to hand when you start doing this, so you can really get out the details and make sure you don't forget anything. Seeing how much of your income needs to allocating towards food, for example, can be very empowering. And as your family grows, obviously you need to add more money towards food. Sorry, my voice is going today. It's likely that you'll have a good understanding of your monthly income from your wages and your dividend drawings from your business. However, you may not fully understand the extent of what you're spending each month. That's generally what we find with our clients. So to get a better idea of what you're spending and what you're spending it on, it's a good idea to start, as I said before, with analysing your personal bank accounts and credit cards, and be prepared to see some numbers that you probably don't like in some of those categories. If you'd prefer to budget on a forward-facing basis, be sure to include, as I said, the one-off annual fees, so things like insurances, your car tax, MOTs, things like that, that you usually are the ones that you forget about. And then obviously, if you're thinking even further in the future, think about putting money aside for uni fees for your kids, or if a dream of yours is to send your children to private school, what would those costs be, and things like that. And making sure you know when they need to be paid as well, so you can plot it all out. And then when budgeting for your debt repayments, this is your opportunity to plan for increases or decreases in repayments, if necessary, according to your cash surpluses and your wealth creation plan. Your personal budget goals may be to accumulate sufficient cash surplus to invest in further in your business or your personal life. It could be you're looking to move house. It could be you're looking to buy a second house, a holiday home or something. So your personal budget will then need to reflect where you're going and what you're saving towards. So having an understanding of what it is you're actually going to need in the future, so you can set some saving goals, will be really great as well. So as I said earlier, we're not just going to talk about it, we're actually going to show you, and I'm going to use the template that we're going to send out so that you can see exactly where we're going with it. So I am hoping you can now all see the budget template. Can somebody just pop in the chat or Q&A to make sure that you can definitely see it for me, please? So I always panic when I change things that you can't see. Yeah, cool, lovely, you can see it, thank you. Right, so this is the sheet we're going to send out, and you'll see it's got 3 tabs along the bottom. So you've got your instructions, personal budget, and your actual performance. So the instructions, I'm going to roughly run through this, not exactly, but I'm going to run through the basic instructions with you, and we're going to put together a basic budget. So first of all, we're going to select a start and end date. So as we're at the beginning of July-ish, halfway through the year, how about we do it till June next year? So we start in July and go to June next year. So again, you can totally change this. It's just a starting point of where we are right now. My personal ones are always done, as well as my business, are always done January to December. And it could be that actually having it tying in with your company year end makes sense for you as well. So you can you know exactly how much money you need to take out during your company financial year. So whatever you want, whatever suits you is what you set your year into. So we're going to just go July this year to June next year. Okay. So obviously there's only 30 days in June. So it just gives you the options for the certain days in the month, which is really handy. And it's going to end next year. Right. You can then pop your name in here and then click on. You just love it when it doesn't want to work. And it doesn't want to work at all. Right, it seems to be broken. That's really not helpful. Okay, well, I will fix this. When I tried it earlier, it was working, so I'm not quite sure what's gone wrong. If we go back to here, I'll show you how I've done. Let me just see. It's always great in a webinar, isn't it, when things don't go to plan. No, it's not going to work at all, is it? Right, I'll talk you through it anyway. So we've selected the year end and you pop your name in, and then you should be able to just click on begin budgeting. Again, I'll fix this before I send it out, so don't stress. The next step will be to enter your monthly income. So down here, you can change these so they suit when they come in: weekly, fortnightly, monthly, annually. And you can then pop in your income. So let's say your wages, one monthly. No, it's not going to work because it's not decided not to work. And you've got, say, 5,000 in dividends. So what will normally happen is this will populate over all of the months. So it's showing in every single month. You can also do manual, and then you can pop in. So say you know you've got something coming in a few months' time, you can put in certain amounts. And then what will happen, I'm just going to fill this in so that you can at least see. Obviously this will happen normally. You won't need to do these formulas. But you can easily see now you've got what your annual income will be, as well as what it will be per month. So next we need to pop in the household expenses. Again, you can set the frequency and the amount. And if you just pop the amounts in here, it would work. Max the rates. I'm just making up figures as I go along. I know some of these will not actually be realistic. Let's say you've got a weekly cleaner of £30 a week. Right, so I'm just going to pop these in. Obviously, when you're doing it, you'd fill everything in. And it will pre-populate across automatically on your copy when you get it. And I'm just going to base this on a 4-week month. So that would be 120. So obviously you'll go through the same process for each category, and you'll be able to see all the figures as they add up, what your total household and spending will be. And you'd follow that through for things like food, with all your groceries, your weekly shopping, your takeaways, going out and everything. and you can pop in there your Costa visits and things. Apparel, so obviously this is a little bit of an American terms, but your clothing, you can pop that all in. Everything you need for your kids, medical, insurance, and this is where you can remember to pop everything in on either a monthly or annual basis. And also remember, this is everything that's coming out of your business account. This is everything coming out of your personal account. So if you've got life insurance through the business, for example, you don't need to pop that in here. The same as if your car goes through the business, you don't need to put your car insurance on it. This is just personal only. So ignore anything that goes out of your business account as a business expense. Obviously, disclaimer, if it's going out of your business account, but it's a personal expense, then really it should be going out of your personal account, and pop it on here as well. Include transport, your fuel, and any other costs. Again, if it's your personal car, not your company car. And then you can include things for your lifestyle, like the hairdressers, need to have that in there, and your nails and everything else you need to have done. That all needs to go in. And it could be what you're saving towards for a holiday. So it may not actually be exact payments, but it's just what you will put in aside. If you've got a holiday goal in mind where you know how much you need to save up by a certain time, then you can pop that in as well. And you can even either put, to start with, put the lump sum in when it needs to be paid, or you can put in what you're putting in savings. It's entirely up to you. And then you've got your debt repayments. So if you want to split out the mortgage, you can do here. I expect most people will want to just lump everything in the mortgage up here because it's just easier to budget for, and you possibly don't know the split between the interest and the capital part. But if you do and you want to split it out, then by all means you can do car loans, bank loans, credit card payments, and so on. And at the end of it, you'll get your total expenses every month. So you know exactly what you're spending. And then if you come back up here, you'll be able to see your cash surplus or deficit for every month. So because we've not put a huge amount in, it's always a surplus at the moment. But you could see if some of these figures here are in brackets, that means it's a minus, which means that month you have more money to spend out than you're going to receive in. So they're the months you need to be looking at and making sure you're saving towards that, which this cumulative should therefore give you. So it's more if this cumulative goes below, that's when you've got an issue and you need to seriously address why you're spending more money than you've got in and how you can sort that out. So if we go back, this is kind of what it will look like at the end when you click on the actual performance. You'll be able to see completed budget. You'll be able to see where all your money goes, which category all your money is going into. You'll be able to see where all your income's coming from, and then your annual cash surplus or deficit. So you can understand where you've got any issues. So you can see here at the bottom where it's got some red. That means those months they're spending more than they're getting in. So I hope that kind of makes sense. And then when you look at the actual performance, you can also plot in, it'll bring through the budget from your personal budget, and you can actually track how well you've done against that budget. So you can see where you've been either over optimistic or not very realistic in your budgeting. And then you can either adjust your budget accordingly, or you can look at, right, well, don't really want to be spending that much on whatever it is. How can I reduce that? So this will therefore help you to look at what you're spending, how you're spending it, and then seeing if there is anything you do want to change, whether it be reducing what you're actually spending or increasing your income to cover it. And then you can look at taking that into your business budget to make sure that you're getting the money out of the business that you need to cover your lifestyle. So I hope that's been helpful for you. So there's little point in preparing a personal budget if you don't monitor your progress, as we just mentioned. So preparing the budget will only be a valuable experience as you'll learn where your money goes. However, it's, as I said, it's only the first part of personal budgeting. So the enduring value comes from seeing your spending habits improve and having open and comfortable discussions about where your money goes and how you're achieving your personal financial goals. So, as I said, it's key to track your spending on a monthly basis, as well as setting it out in the first place. For some couples, discussions around spending and budgeting are quite normal. For others, particularly where money behaviours differ, conversations about money may be more tense, but it's great to have it all in black and white so you can actually see where everything's going, and then you can make a plan around that. So throughout the process, try to have some fun, bring some light into what can be a serious topic. Celebrate your wins. So if one of your goals, for example, is to reduce your coffee habit, if you get to a couple of months down the line and you can see it's coming down, great, celebrate it. And yes, your celebration may involve spending money, so make sure you plan that in as well. So it could be you've got a really big goal at work, and if you achieve that, you can then put more money into your personal budget and go and celebrate. So plan those things in as well. And thinking back to our thought of the day, don't hide this from your children. Obviously depending on their ages, but let them see you set aside time to work out your budget and make it a normal process and light-hearted and a bit fun where you can, so your children then won't find it ominous and scary as well, and they can be part of it. Maybe you can even set them a little personal budget. If they do certain chores, they get money, and then you can plan how they're going to spend and save that money so that they can be involved in it too. So we know that focusing on your personal spending can seem quite confrontational. You may get worried that your spouse or accountant will judge you if you're spending. We won't. Let's face it, we want you to have the lifestyle of your dreams. So the more you're getting towards that, the happier we'll be for you. But obviously that's really not the focus of setting a personal budget. The personal budget is just that, it's personal. It's yours and it's yours alone. Your budget simply reflects your decisions about how you're going to spend your earnings and how much should be left over for debt reduction, savings and investments. So instead of dwelling on the roadblocks, time, fear and pride, on most of them, remember to focus on the benefits. Got better control and focus and awareness of your financial spending, improved money habits, and probably the one thing that most of us are striving towards is you're achieving your wealth creation goals, no matter what they are, big or small. That's what you're trying to get to. So focus on the benefits you seek to gain. Then take that first step in setting up your annual personal budget. Your personal budget. Use a simple tool, which I will fix before I send out, or choose an app that works for you. Focus on the expenses you can and you want to control. Again, it's all about lifestyle, what you want for your lifestyle. So make sure that you are enjoying your life as you go along as well. And you can get some support from us if you need help, or some independent accountability. So how we can help you. I said we don't usually get involved in personal finances, but I'm seeing more and more a reason where we should. So we're actually able to do a review of your annual personal budget. So once you've put it all together, we can set up a meeting and we can go through it with you, review it, make sure you've thought of everything, and that nothing has obviously gone wrong with the spreadsheet, but it should be fine once it's fixed, and that everything is adding up and everything is all okay and you're happy and comfortable with where you're going. The review, obviously we're going to send out the budget with a recording of this seminar once it's fixed. So you can get on and do it yourself. And I hope that that is really helpful. And of course, if there's anything that you want to go through at all, then we will obviously have a complimentary meeting with yourself to see how we can help you further. Be it you like the idea of a personal budget, you know what you've got, but then you need to go the next step forward to get it onto your business. We can go through all of that and how we can help you. So I hope that helps, but just remember, I've got to throw it in again, I'm afraid, that everything we've gone through today is general and it's no substitute for anything specific or tailored for your circumstances. So if there is something specific you'd like to chat about, then we can book in a meeting and have that call and go through everything. Are there any questions? No. No, I've got no questions coming through. If you have got questions once you've started using it, then please do let me know. Oh, Jacinth Lillian's, can you show us how? Yep, so you can't, once it's all fixed, you can't actually add any further lines. So what you'll see at the end of every section, you've got an other. So anything that's not included in those, you can pop in the other. You will be able to change that wording if you want to, so that, oh sorry, we're not on the right page, sorry, on the personal budget page. You'll see in everything, got another, you can change the wording of that. So if it's something specific you're popping in, you can change the wording, or if you're lumping it in a couple of things together, you can pop in brackets what they are. I can't think of anything to pop in here at the moment, but you know what I mean with it. You can change the wording, but it is all fixed so that you can't break all the calculations, even though I've managed to break the bit at the top. But it's fixed so that none of these calculations will break. So I hope that answers that question. Brilliant. Cool. Is there any other questions before we move on? Or finish up, should I say? I just realised the time. No, okay. If you do, once you start working through it and using it, if there are any questions, then please do feel free just to drop me an email. I'm happy to help. So before we go, I thought I'd share this quote with you. A personal budget is just that. It's you deciding where you want your money to go. So it's you taking control. So this has to be a good thing, really, doesn't it? So thank you for making the time to attend this webinar today. Those watching it on recording, thank you for watching the recording. I really appreciate that your time is valuable, so thank you very much. There is a brief exit survey as you cancel down the webinar, so it'd be really appreciated. Really would be appreciated if you can just pop any feedback in there, so we can continuously improve these sessions. And if there's any other webinar topics you'd like to see from us as well, that'd be really great. So I hope we've given you plenty of ideas and help there on how you can achieve this. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in a webinar soon. Take care.